We began development of the game about a year ago. I began to put what are called design documents together, and I published a little treatise on the web called "What is a Lord British Ultimate RPG?" Kind of a post-mortem of my earlier work to say these are the things I think that were important about those that I will pull forward into a game in the future. About 6 months ago, we began to roll team members off of some other projects we were working on onto this game. And now we've got our full internal staff of about 12 people working exclusively on Shroud of the Avatar. So we're up to this kind of first prototype, and that's what we'll be showing off here over the next month during our crowdfunding campaign. Well, here's the reason why I think going to the public is so much better than going to a publisher. If I look back at all of my games that I've developed in over 30 years, my favorites are Ultima 4, Ultima 7, and Ultima Online. And interestingly, all three of those games were games that my own company, much less if we were involved with another publisher, didn't really believe in through most of the development cycle, and I only pushed it through just because I had a very clear vision of what I wanted to do, and I made the game my way. The two games that I think suffered the most with their launches are Ultima 8 and Tabula Rasa. And what's interesting about those two games are those are the two games that I published immediately after joining forces with another publisher. Ultima 4 just after I joined forces with EA, Tabula Rasa after I joined forces with NCSoft. And in both of those cases, those companies have their own ideas about what's important about their business model, about how they publish, how they distribute, how they market. And in both of those cases, I received a great deal of pressure to change the games and or ship the games prematurely because of that publisher's beliefs. And I think that worked against the success of my game, and it worked against the happiness of the players. Well, I think one of the for me the first and foremost thing that is unique about a Lord British style role playing game has to do with the way story is brought into the gaming environment. Most other role playing games are first and foremost about combat, where they're really on a level grind in order to either continue to level grind, or if it's a solo player game, kill the big evil bad guy. My work is much more of a story-driven sandbox reality where as you play, not only are you involved in a truly epic story, but the way you're involved the game is going to psychologically analyze you during your play and respond according to your play habits. The Shroud of the Avatar Forsaken Virtues. The Forsaken Virtues part is the first what I'll call episode of this new game. And so I would say this: we have planned for 5 episodes. Each of the episodes expands the geography of the world significantly and moves the story into each of the 5 fragments that we are breaking it up into. And so I would say, to answer, is the world lighter or darker? I would say it depends on which episodes. For Shroud of the Avatar, I would say it's a little bit lighter than some Ultimas. But through the episode cycle, it will get very dark, and then hopefully, end up very light. So it'll cover all the bases. It's to give you some differences compared to what I'll call the classic medieval world of the Ultimas behind me. The new world that I'm creating is a little bit more advanced, where we have not only a kind of medieval sword and sorcery foundation for the world, but we're letting a little bit of technology creep in. We're avoiding things like gunpowder and guns, but we are bringing in a little bit of things like electricity and harnessing of wind and water and geothermal to create mechanical energy and electrical energy. So we do have a little bit of kind of the mechanical age beginning to emerge into the new world that we're creating. I'm a big believer in classless systems or multi-classing systems, you might call it also, in the sense of I think one of the big problems of most role-playing games is that the first thing they make you decide is what race and class do you want to be, and you haven't even played the game. You have no idea which one would be fun in this particular game. On the other hand, what we're going to do is throw you right in the game, let you start playing, let you see the world, let you discover what you like about the game. And if today you want to go practice sword skills and increase your combat skills, go for it. If tomorrow you would rather learn a little bit of magic, go for it. You can do either one. The game won't stop you. The game won't tell you that there's a right or wrong answer. However, behind the scenes, it keeps track of all your behaviors. And so if you're willing to take such a large reward for such a simple task, it begins to keep a statistical record of the way you approach the game. And so later in the game, there'll be other NPCs who will respond to those variables with how willing they are to help you and what way they will challenge you. This is actually closer to a solo player game. You can think of it as a solo player game, and I believe you'll even be able to play it offline. Our intention is to shoot for playing offline entirely. But while you are connected online, there is one master server of the persistent world. It is not like a client server where all the interactions between players are being managed by it. It's just keeping the state of the persistent world. And so when you're online, the state of the world will be downloaded to you. And when you change something in the persistent world, it will be uploaded back to that particular server. We're building in the Unity platform. And, by the way, I have to say, I am amazingly pleased with Unity so far as a development environment. There have been lots of good 3D render pipelines over the last 10 years or so. We've begun to see those tools, what I'll call come of age. But this is the first time I've really seen an entire development environment that not only allows great rapid prototyping and progress on a game, but also that so neatly and easily cross compiles, which will allow us that even though we're developing this first and foremost for the PC audience, it means it's very easy for us to cross compile it to say Mac, or if we want to release a Linux version for the Linux users.